Why today?
You are, in fact, watching The Dorkening.
You're watching The Dorkening. Stay tuned.
For all the geek news everywhere. Dorkening.
And this is The Dorkening. Trust me, I'm smarter than these guys.
Because The Dorkening is the best and most educational entertainment and information source that the Trauma team knows of. It's the best. The Dorkening.
Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. There's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee to die for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
Oh, and I hit the wrong button, damn it. Hey,
Damn it.
I know. Happy Tuesday, everybody. You're watching Splash Pages. My name's Leo. I'm the monkey behind the keyboard here. We have a most amazing guest tonight. So he's been in the movie Night and Day. He has a brand new movie, Swap Me Baby, which you can see right now. Totally, we'll tell you more about it. It's on VOD right now. And he's been in shows like CSI, Arrested Development, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but you definitely know him from Hawkman, as Hawkman from Legends of Tomorrow. And we bring you Falk Hentschel. How's it going, sir?
Going really, really well. Thanks for having me.
Hey, thanks for coming on. Did I totally destroy your name or did I get it? Okay?
Perfect.
Awesome.
Nicely done.
We also have Velvet Joker. How's it going, bud?
Good evening, guys. Hey, you know what it is. It's another Tuesday night here on the award-winning Splash Pages, a comic book club podcast. And here I am here. And we've got Falk tonight. And that's super exciting. And We have a great comic by Carlos Pacheco that we're going to talk about. And of course, we're going to talk Carlos tonight, and we're going to talk about Kevin Conroy. We're going to have a great show. Looking forward to it. What? How you doing, Drew?
I didn't glitch. I just wanted to point this out. So, I'm doing well. We have a wonderful guest. We're probably going to ask some dancing tips, considering his history. You know, he's been a hero. He's been a villain. He's been a writer. He's been a producer. He's been a director. He's done a lot of stuff. So we don't know how long we have him for, so we're going to make the most of the time. And on to the show.
Yeah.
Here we go.
So at the top of the intro, I mentioned Swap Me Baby, which is out right now. How can people see it?
Right now, it's everywhere. It's on Amazon, iTunes. You can get it on Tubi. You want to see it with ads, support it that way, all over the place.
Awesome. I'm going to play the trailer really quick. It looks hilarious, but here we go.
Sweet.
Nice.
How did this happen? He's,
We had the sex.
He's an escort. The condom broke. Wait, you paid for this? I mean, no offense.
Oh, none taken.
I have something that could help you spend the weekend here. Trust me.
Welcome to the Baby Making Podcast.
I really need you to listen to this.
Something to consider, breast milk isn't vegan.
Come on now.
I'm doing all of this for our baby.
So am I.
Taking mushrooms is not planning for a baby, Philippe.
You can see the box.
Give me that.
We are something more than friends.
Oh, this trip is so weird.
I'm a mustache. A half-naked French gigolo.
Bound by a border and a magical tether.
The box
will ensure you must work together.
I can't keep doing these stupid challenges. I would like my body back.
Forget all that. Enjoy the moment.
All I ever try to do is figure out what to do, and I still don't know what I'm doing ever.
Nobody knows what they're doing. No matter how crazy things are around you, it's all gonna be okay.
We are something more than friends. We are something more than friends. We are something more. We are something more than friends.
Oh my god. I have a penis!
See?
Get it off!
Ah, don't flap it like that!
Oh, geez. You can watch that for free right now on Tubi if you want to watch it and support it with ads. As we know, definitely support indie films. And wow, totally.
It's almost like playing Hawkman. You know, I don't see a big difference between the characters.
So obviously, it's a comedic love story.
Yeah. It's a good old-fashioned body swap concept.
Nice. Now, Falk,
is less wings.
Were you just the actor in this? Because we know that you've been a writer and a producer as well.
I conceptualized the story with the team, with the original director who we lost 3 weeks prior to shooting, and the writer Jesse Luman. And then Jesse went off and wrote the script, and I produced it with him. But yeah, I just story by on this one.
Awesome, man.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is this the first time that you've done a project of this nature before?
Okay. Yeah, it was my first produced feature film. I've done a lot of shorts and proof of concepts for films we were trying to raise money for, but this was the first feature that came together, and also the first real endeavor into broad comedy like that, or any sort of comedy. I had the hair, I had the mustache, and I was like, let's go for it. Let's do something with it. Yeah.
And
so
what has the reception been thus far?
Critically, I think we're still like on
Well, it looks
Rotten
good.
Tomatoes, like in the 70s or something like that, high 70s. And business-wise, it's hard to tell these days with distribution because it's still out. We're still in our overall
It's good.
run. But people love the film so far. You know, people seem to feel about the film how we felt when we made it. Lots of fun. It's me and my partner. She was actually present, so lots of love there between us, and it seems like that kind of translates and people enjoy it.
Awesome. Very cool. Very excited for you. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And obviously we were all laughing at the end of the trailer, so you get the reaction you want, and it certainly made me want to go out and see it.
Hey, good. Go check it out. It's a really fun date night movie, especially if you have kids or if you're expecting. I think it elevates the experience.
Absolutely. And for those who don't know, Tubi is a free service that you can find online, download it on your phone or on your smart TV. And you should definitely check out this movie. It looks super fun. Absolutely.
Everybody should have Tubi because that's
I did not know that, Rick.
service. Go for it, Drew.
I didn't know anything about it, so I've learned something. I honestly, please tell me you guys can hear it.
We can hear you, yeah.
Go for it,
God. I keep feeling like I'm glitching. Okay, no, I was just saying I have no idea what this was, so I've learned something today. It's great.
Absolutely. So, Falk, going back to the earlier part of your career, you started off in entertainment as a dancer.
Yeah.
And I guess eventually you ended up becoming a backup dancer for some pretty amazing artists of different calibers and different genres. What was your favorite experience or slash experience with the artist? Because I'm sure some you liked and some you probably didn't like so much.
Yeah, I think one of the most fun I had was backup dancing for an artist named Jamelia. She was in the UK artist. Her big hit there was called Superstar. Earlier on, late 90s, early 2000s, she had a hit called Money. R&B artist, and she was opening for Justin Timberlake's first solo tour when Justin did Justified.
Okay.
And so the fun there was we got to perform on that stage, you know, so we had the London Arena, you know, however many thousands of people go in there, and I got to watch Justin's performance live 32 times in a row. And his show was great. That was a wonderful show. And to be a part of that was just really, really fun. And also open up the idea of maybe go to LA, you know, the choreographer and the dancers, I got to hang out with them, and they were like, if you want to take this international, come out to LA. And that was sort of the beginning of that. I finished that tour, packed up my bags in London. I was living in London at the time, went home, told my parents, all right, I'm headed to a little further away, and I moved to LA. And then once I landed in LA, I kept dancing. That helped me with my green card or my visa financially. And I, on the side, then basically created a little conservatory. I took acting classes every day, 4 or 5 hours for like 3-4 years, and then continued to study while I was in Los Angeles.
Awesome. Slowly building your career.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously we always know that you were Hawkman on Legends of Tomorrow. And it's rumored that maybe it wasn't the best experience for you.
Yeah, it wasn't. I wouldn't leave it at that. I would say it was very challenging, and I had a lot of good experiences on it as well. I didn't have a particularly like bad experience. Like everybody was really nice to me. There was no drama with any of the cast or the showrunners or producers. It was good. It was the way that Hawkman was portrayed and what kind of emphasis landed on him and Hawkgirl actually, that I just had different ideas. I had probably, you know, selfishly wanted more. You know, I thought Hawkman Carter Hall was such a fascinating character with all these lifetimes, with, you know, millennia lived. And I felt I'd never got to tap into the human aspect of Carter Hall.
Okay.
Because his power of reincarnation, aside from the strength, aside from all that stuff, you know, how did that affect the man? the father. We touched on it, but like
Right.
losing your children again and again, losing that again and again. What kind of I wanted him to have a lot more sense of a dark humor.
Okay.
Some of that came through in Flash.
Did you do your research into it before then, or were you already a Hawkman fan?
No, I did the research. I knew Hawkman. I was a fan of the premise of him, and I looked at the comics, and that was probably also, to be honest with the fans, I felt the comic itself was about a really angry, muscular guy that was strong, and that I never found those nuggets of humanity in the comics. It was just not focused upon, the vulnerability of that. And so I very consciously was like, well, there's only so much I can do about the appearance. I did my best. And I didn't want to just kind of like grit my teeth and have a deep voice and just kind of swing the mace. And so I kind of just freestyled on, well, if I had been around. And they did have the scene in the audition that I loved where Hawkman basically challenges Rip Hunter and is like, well, I'm clearly leading this show because I fought next to Alexander the Great. And then I also was, friends with Genghis Khan or whatever. I don't know what exactly the scene was, but he was just like, all right, that's settled. Like, what are you going to do about it, human? There was this element of fighting for leadership. And as you see in the show, that's not at all what we did. Hawkman comes in and he follows and he does his thing. And I just felt like, no.
Right.
And it wasn't an ego thing. I didn't want more screen time, or I'd take my own show. That would have been really fun. But it was the love for that character and the truth of like, yeah, sorry guys, but you ain't got nothing on this dude. And even if you do, he'll be born again. You won't,
Right.
So there was this arrogance to it. And this like, I called him the uncle of society because he's been with humanity all this time and he's watched it. He's seen it again and again. We're repeating history. So he's kind of like, and at the same time, all the hurt that a man like that has to put somewhere.
Interesting.
Insecurity. We just didn't have the time. So that's the experience of a young actor that finally gets a big break. It's it's Hawkman. It's supposed to change your career. And so I was like, let's go and let's have flashbacks to medieval times on horseback, and the mace should be a little bigger. And when I punch somebody, they got to go flying, and we didn't, that was not what the show was.
Right. It was the WB. There was just so much that they were willing to do, I guess.
Yeah, they had a lot of superheroes, and not for that, they had a good budget, but it's a lot that they had to accomplish. And I think they did really well, so it's not saying that they didn't do good. And it took a turn, as you guys know, the show changed, and I think that new tone was great.
And was it always the plan for you just to do the 8 episodes?
It wasn't even that. The plan was 2 episodes. It was like, let's kill him, and that's it. And then it started to become clear that there was going to be flashbacks and all that. And then we came back and did more. But yeah, I mean, I think the original idea, and don't quote me on this, but I think it was supposed to become a Hawkman Hawkgirl thing. Well, that's how it all started. They were kind of the crux of the show. And then it turned more into Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right.
And it was the first season, as you can tell, it's just like, that's a different show. Right.
Yeah,
Second was trying to find a beat, and then third, I think, is when it started to go ludicrous in a good way. And the first, when I came back on the 100th episode, I was like, what are you guys doing? Like, I don't understand at all. Okay, tell me where to stand and what to do, and I'll do it.
I hear you.
Right.
Now, opposed to working as Hawkman, you worked 1 episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I was just curious, from the business perspective of working with DC versus working with Marvel, any pluses or minuses in either direction? And again, not from the acting perspective, more from the background, the business perspective.
No, I mean, the biggest difference was Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was a running ship that I came on to. I got it offered. It was a casting director I've auditioned for a lot. And I actually auditioned for a different role, a scientist role, a Russian scientist, which I clearly wasn't right for. But after that audition, they were like, do you want to do Marcus Galati? And I was like, yeah. So that's nice to just be like, great, thanks. And then, yeah, the ship was going and they had figured it out and it was smooth and they knew what the show was. They knew where I fit in. I had my role to play. Similar thing though, you know, I didn't know. I was like, this is a pretty, if I was producing, I'm like, this is a good bad guy. And so there was this like, am I going to come back? Are they going to do something with this? And then DC just, they started writing that thing based on that pitch. There was a pitch video of it, like a 10-minute pitch of the team coming together. Hawkman wasn't part of it yet. And then they got greenlit and they, you know, didn't have much to go on. So they were going fast with development, figuring out what it is and what it was. And I came in, I requested a meeting after I got the job because it was all hush hush. I wasn't like, am I a series regular? What's happening? And I wanted to sort of know what is my role. And here are my ideas. Everything I've told you about what I'm excited about, I was going to be like, yeah, what do you think about this? And then we can do this. And like, you know, is he reborn as like a man every time? Is he like, you know, like what are the rules that you guys are laying down? All this stuff. And in that meeting, it was clear, you know, I came in with all this fire and both Mark and Phil, bless their hearts, love them. They were just so busy and they took the time to meet me and both of them were like, what do you need? Like, we're really busy. Like, what do you not, you know, can we get to set and shoot it? Like, we need to write. And so I was like, okay, there's a lot going on here and I'm not that high on the totem pole to shower people with my ideas.
Well, which led you to today, which now you're doing all your ideas, which is awesome.
Yeah, that's the thing. I've always been, as an actor, it's always been tricky for me because I love stories so much, and I believe that I know it fairly well now. That I always want to be really involved. You know, if I see something in the script that can be improved upon, I try to, with a lot of respect, just sort of go, it's my job to tell you. You know, you're writing this, but I got all this time to think as the character, to feel as the character, to daydream about the character. I'm going to bring that to you, and that is sometimes not desired and sometimes really, really desired. So, but it's a very, not black or white, but it splits the crowd, you know, that type of passion.
Yeah, very cool. And it is interesting when you're saying like you're going on to a new developing project versus an existing ship and the difference in that and different experiences. And that just helps you learn and make you better.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they were both great learning experiences, and to be part of both of those universes. I was surprised that they allowed that. You know, I was like, "Are you sure?"
Right.
You know, but then everybody's doing it, so I was like, "Okay,
nice." Well, I don't want to monopolize you anymore. Let me pass you off to my cohorts.
Yeah, I know Drew was chomping at the bit. Go for it, Drew. Did we lose Drew?
I'm amazed that he's just.
You're not... Oh, you're not monopolizing anything. I just, for some reason, keep thinking I'm glitching. So, you know, I'm just listening and hoping that you can all hear me. So this is fine.
Yeah, we hear you. Go for it, Drew.
So that's me. Can you hear me? I'm okay. I'm just making sure, because that's why I've been quiet the whole time, because the screens keep popping in and out, and I'm like, this is the one day this has to happen. What a horrible first impression.
All right.
I did want to ask one quick career, Falk. I saw that when looking up your history, that one of your first roles was you in Arrested Development. You played, I think, like in 2005, you were a hot cop.
Hot Cop J.
I wanted to ask how that was one of my favorite shows. So to find out that what was that like auditioning for that and being a part of that show for just a minute?
Yeah, that was another one. I didn't audition for it, I believe. I just, I think I got the offer because it was heavily based on dance skills. So my dance agent got me the job, and then we had to sing, and then there was acting involved. You know, not much. I think I had a line or two. But that was my first. Yeah, I think this was my first Hollywood credit and job. And it was odd because, you know, I come here from Europe, from Germany. and you're like, I can't wait to be on the sets with the dollies and the this and the that and the toys. And I come on set and there's this dude with a little camcorder, right? A little camera, handheld, a sound guy. And we're just kind of like running around the street like we did with our short films, because that was the style of Arrested Development. And so that was funny. And then it was just, that also made it just like fun, because it was like, yeah, have a blast. And it was comedy. They shaved me to look younger than they realized. I was like, I'm going to look really young. And they were like, oh no, paint a beard on him. Like they took my actual beard away and then painted a very badly painted beard on it, but which made it more funny. And the best part of that was showing up in South Central, or Crenshaw, I think, in the hood, dressed up like West Side Story. All these extras where I'm like not 100% sure, are they all extras or some people just showing up on set? The toughest mother effers I've ever seen, just staring me down like, yo, what's up? What you doing here? You know, like, and I was like, oh no, I'm gonna have to sing, hey, Bloods and Cribs, there's a new gang in town. We shoot with our hips and we step with our frowns. We call the Queen Mary. Come and hear about sounds. And I was terrified in the best way possible. And yeah, they were there watching us do that thing, and then we get shot. It was wonderful. Too fast. And I got offered to come back for the film. Couldn't make it work because I was shooting something else, but you know, they brought him back in the movie, and yeah, I'm bummed I didn't get to do that. That was a fun crew. That was a really fun, creative, artistic crew and cast.
Nice.
Did during that, did you have
awesome.
any?
No.
Did you have any time with or did you have a chance to meet like Jason Bateman or?
Just kidding.
Boom.
Love it.
Please. Oh,
he's gonna bounce back in. He's probably just reloading.
Yeah.
True.
It's all good. But boy, the guy's got a sense of comedy for sure.
Love it.
Yeah, we definitely didn't see that in Hawkman, Falk.
No, we didn't. And I wish when I came back for the 100th episode, and then I'll answer your question, don't forget it. That was part of what I was looking forward to. I had this long curly hair still and the mustache, and I left it on because I felt like, okay, it's the 100th episode. I read the script. It was all different. Firestorm had a different accent. The show seems to be cool with going crazy. And I sent a picture to Phil on the balcony, like with my mustache and my hair. And I was like, yo, can we just change Hawkman a little bit? Like he's been gone, right? And unfortunately, you know, it's supposed to be a memory of who we were. But then I pitched it again with the I have a picture of me in the costume with the long hair. And yeah, and then also the performances. I went pretty big on that. What you see in the show is not the biggest comedy take I've given them on all that. So that was fun. But back to your question, what did you ask first? For you?
Oh, I was just wondering if you had any time with Jason Bateman while you're on.
No, I wish. Especially his career trajectory now, like directing and producing. Like he seems like a cool dude to get to know.
Yeah, I love his stuff, and he just seems like, you know, he would be just one of those, like, you know, really down to earth, nice people. If you had ever had a
chance. Did you see The Gift?
Yes, yeah.
I thought he did a great job on that. I love Joel Edgerton, and yeah, he's good. He's really, really good.
Yeah. Did you watch Ozark?
No, I checked in. I watched the pilot and then just didn't get to it. But the pilot was good, and everybody loved it.
So another question I had is I was a fan of CSI for a while, and I saw that you in 2011 were on an episode with Justin Bieber.
With the Beeps, that's right.
The Beeps. So what was that like? Because it's funny because I stopped watching the show long before. I mean, I used to collect the whole thing, and I just stopped. I don't know. It just, you know, like you just kind of, you're like, I'm going to take a break. And that break becomes a hiatus, and the hiatus becomes years later. And then I just remember because there was like a meme of him getting shot down, and everybody making it a really big joke. What was it like working on the episode? Did you like working with him, I guess?
I mean, and he was at his height. I mean, he was huge, and he was a kid still, right?
Right.
I think he still had a minder, and but he was about to. I will never forget this. We were sitting in the car getting ready for the scene, and we got along. He was good to me. But there was this energy of like Justin Bieber's on set. Like how's that going to go? I don't know how any of that was for people, but for me personally, sitting in the car with him. And we're just shooting the shit. And I asked him, I was like, dude, what's your dreams? Like, you're so young. You've done all this. Like, what are you going to do now? And he goes, I mean, I'd really like to win a Grammy, And then he wins the Grammy 2 days later or like a week later. And I'm just thinking, he's 16 years old and he just fulfilled all his creative dreams. What the fuck? Like, what does that do to somebody? And so he was just fascinating to work with. It's just this kid, a little bratty, but like in the way that he should be at that age, but with a lot of power.
Well, that was a great story. Thanks, man. I'm gonna open this now because I feel that story. What
do you mean?
Well, because that definitely made me a little depressed. Because you're right. I was thinking the same thing. 16, he does all this. God damn, that's
right.
Oh boy, I'm a little depressed now, so I'm just gonna drink.
And so and like seeing him also just deal with it, being that big at 16 or 17, and then what happened later to him in Hollywood and just like in the tabloids, I'm like, this poor kid, man. In general, like child stardom and success is nothing I wish upon anybody. Strong, great parents. And a strong personality to recover from that, because
totally
we bring him up and when we tear him apart. He was good. He signed my script and he doodled in my script. The doodles were very funny and immature. I won't say what they were, but I still have it. And I'm like,
that's cool. You got that one of a kind, Bieber doodled script. There you go. Things you never thought you'd say in your life.
And I gave it my dad's wife's daughter. That's who it was for. And, she found it later and was like, "What is this?" And I was like, "Well, frame it."
Frame it. That's pretty accurate. Get a nice shadow box for it. Am I right? And it's now that I have the signal, I feel like I can actually talk. So another thing I wanted to bring up is you brought up that you were somewhat familiar with the character and whatnot. So did you ever have moments when you were working on like Legends or Arrow or Flash where you're like, oh, this is very comic booky? Like I know there was one or two scenes where you're arguing with the Green Arrow, and in the comics, the Green Arrow and Hawkman are very much opposites. Like Green Arrow's a liberal and you're a staunch conservative. So you guys get in fights a lot. Did you sometimes feel like, oh, this is kind of comic-y? Or like, okay, cool. This is in the script. I'm just gonna go with this.
Comic-y in what way? By the way, I should have researched this. Like, I didn't know that. That is a really cool fact I didn't know that I wish I had known. I don't know if I would have done it. Maybe.
No. No. Like, you like what I mean by like is like, were there ever moments that you're somewhat familiar with the character, like you said, you read enough, so you knew who the character was. It wasn't like I was like, yeah, he's a man, he's got wings, he flies, reborn, cool, whatever. You didn't just wing it. You did a little research. But like, were there any moments like, oh, this is kind of, this is kind of like in the book, like,
I think so. I think in general, the DC universe is like the right format for comic books. It seems very comic book, right? A little tongue in cheek, not too dark, but goes dark. Arrow specifically. Arrow, I feel like has the darkest tone. Flash has the lightest tone, and Legends had different tones.
Yeah, they went wacky.
They went many tones. But yeah, I think they do a really good job at staying true to that. As far as I can tell.
Okay. Cool. trying to think. There's one, two other things. I'm trying to think if there's. Another thing. You kind of around the same time that you had done CSI, you also worked with Kira Sedgwick on The Closer.
Yeah.
You were Richard Conway or something like that. You were.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was that like?
That was till today one of my favorite characters. That started the audition of it started where it was interesting. It's for those of you that haven't seen it, it's being interrogated or being brought out of jail. I had killed somebody with a carpet cutter for $50 at an ATM because I needed a fix, and that put me away. But I have some information about the case, and so they bring me out of my cell, and the scene is just that. It's just Kira and Corey Reynolds interviewing me. And he was just describing what happened in the audition, and I just, for some reason, I was like, fuck, like that sucks. And I broke down crying in the scene. I just felt the remorse of like, I took somebody from his children for $50. And I was like, it was 195 pounds, shaved head at the time. And I was like, this isn't going to go well. That's not what they're looking for. But they did. And the director really wanted to preserve that. And it was the nicest process I've ever been offered on a TV show, because he said, look, like, we're going to cover you first. If you want to go to close-ups first, whatever we need to preserve this performance, because we know it's kind of delicate. And in the meantime, I'm going, fuck, I hope I can do that again. Whenever as a man, you have these vulnerable scenes where you got to break down, it's like, maintain that. So it was as an actor, it was like the most coddled emotionally I've ever been. The loveliest. Kira is great. And Kira, funny enough too, I was choreographing for her nephew, George Duca, who's an artist in Canada. So there was all that connection there that was like serendipitous. And Corey was a wonderful person. We stayed in touch long after the show. I hope he's doing well. Yeah, that was a really lovely experience for a one-day guest star,
Okay.
Very cool.
So the last question I have is a purely silly one, which sometimes are the best. So, your career was a lot of dancing. You've worked with a lot of musicians and whatnot. You just have random dance parties. You just put on a tune and you start grooving, and if you do, what are the hawk jams? What are you dancing to these days?
These days, probably old school R&B still. You have to imagine. So when I came to the States, I had somewhat of an accent. I probably talked like this, but I lived across from the Millennium. It wasn't the hood anymore, but I grew up in the dance world.
Right.
My English, my Americanism, who I am. I was like, "What's up, dog? How you doing?" Like just a bit street or whatever you want to call it, and so my whole influence was Usher, Missy Elliott.
Okay.
That world. So that's what I would probably be jamming to right now. Still,
Nice.
Old school R&B.
Okay, nothing wrong with that.
And I had one more for you, Falk. In 2013 to 14, you were in 3 big budget movies in a row: Transcendence, Extraction, and White House Down. I'm sure you enjoyed different things from all 3, but if you had to pick one, which one was your most enjoyable experience and why?
Extraction actually was a fairly low budget film. That was $1 million, I think. It was a crackle.
Okay.
There is the Chris Hemsworth one that they did a few years ago, completely different film for Netflix. But White House Down, yeah, most money ever I think I've been involved in. I think it was officially 160, but it seemed more like 200. Channing Tatum, biggest star of that time, Jamie Foxx. So it's just like a massive juggernaut. We had the White House completely rebuilt. We had a sound stage that was the White House. We had a bubble outside on a lawn with the entire front of the White House rebuilt. We had the beast. Just toyland for an actor, you know.
Right.
All the weapons that bad guys have, all the fighting, all the exploding, I get to shoot. It's just candy store. And the pressure of it was, you know, not as bad as on other projects. Like Roland was really easy to work with, really fun. I worked with Jason Clark mostly. We were really close and liked each other. So, you know, it was easy enough of a character. I didn't really carry a plot or a story, but had some stuff to do and was in the whole film. Jamie Foxx was hilarious. I loved listening to his rants and stories on set. And again, Jamie Foxx actually is the other funny thing. I used to choreograph to his music at the Millennium. You know, that is what I jammed to. So that was surreal and weird. I should have told him that. Yeah, and then Transcendence was another very, like a Hawkman experience, very difficult for me in that point in my career. It was a straight offer. I met Wally. Wally seemed really great and is a great guy. We got along. Didn't have much to do with Johnny, but briefly met him. We got along. And again, you know, I had a role that drives a lot of like just sort of goes, here's where we're at in the story, here's where the guys are, like that kind of a role. So not too much to it, but a lot of screen time and a lot of with everyone. And so I was like, all right, like, do I have a relationship with Kate Mara's character? I feel like I should be into her in a creepy way, you know, like he's a bad guy, and that would be an interesting power dynamic. I came with all these things to the first rehearsal, and I started playing. And it was like the response I got was nice. It wasn't mean or anything, but it was like, yeah, that's not what we're doing. Like this, stand there, say your line. We're good, right?
Shut up and act, kid. Shut up and act.
Yeah, and then there was a lot like Ollie got upset, you know, when I sometimes even moved, you know, I was holding a lookout and I was looking around. He was like, just stand still. And it was like, it was tense. It got tense. I could tell that I was not delivering or pleasing, I guess. Didn't have the wherewithal of a seasoned actor to be like, well, let's talk it out. I don't know what your problem is. And how can I help you? Right. That's what I should have done.
Right.
I just kind of like turned inward, and, you know, it was a juggernaut again in expectations. It was Wally Pfister's first film. Nolan was producing it. It was an amazing script and idea. Johnny was in it. And yeah, that could have ended my career.
Wow.
Insecurity wise, I was really insecure after that. I was like, can I act? Like, is this right? And the saving grace on that movie was Paul Bettany. Kept it light, a real match, just really sweet. You know, kind of like holding up the spirit of everybody. And but yeah, it was every time I stepped on set, I basically was just worried about whether I was gonna, you know, get it right or not. And there wasn't much to get right, you know.
Right.
And then Extraction. I'm just telling you about all of them. You just wanted to hear about one of them.
Yeah, it's all good. Tell us your story. I'm not going to tell you to stop.
And Extraction was the opposite. It was a super low budget. I had just done these big things. I was on Transcendence, but hadn't shot it yet. So you're elevated as far as like how you're respected. It's always weird to me, but okay. And this was a smaller project. I wasn't getting paid a lot. And I came in the audition. I mean, I asked for a different role than I auditioned for a way bigger part. It's like, I'm really interested in that role. It was my wheelhouse. I'm a martial artist, and I got to do a lot of that in there. And it was super creative. It was very like, what if there's some more humor here? What if we do it this way? And the director, Tony Giglio, a sweetheart, cool dude, super inclusive as far as like ideas go. And I think we created a really fun character in that. I'm actually really proud of that character. So yeah, all three completely different experiences.
All right. So I had one more question. So I don't know if you've seen Black Adam, which has, you know, a different version of Hawkman. What is that like when, you know, you've portrayed a character and, you know, whatnot, and you're seen as that, and you see someone else portray the character? Do you like have a Hawkman lunch where you know, sit and compare notes? You know, I was like, yeah, I was doing this. Yeah, you could have done that. Oh, I didn't think of that. Do Hawkmen have brunch?
Do Hawkmans have brunch? No, we don't. We have never met or talked or anything. I have not seen the movie yet, but I saw.
Okay.
I had a weird moment driving. I was in LA last week, driving around past the studio, Warner Brothers. And I'm driving, and I just see in big letters Hawkman on a marquee, and I look up to the feet, and then I saw him. I was like, "That's so weird." That was really bizarre because I've so associated that myself. But I was like, but it looks great. I mean, it looks badass, the way they made him look. I think it's great that he's diverse. I mean, he's Egyptian. Did they go with the Egyptian storyline or the other one?
Leo?
They didn't really cover his history.
Good.
Yeah,
They didn't.
They didn't.
Did not.
They did not. Well, this was a point. That was one of my questions. Did you guys ever see what's that movie with Al, the AI where he jumps time?
Quantum Leap.
Quantum Leap.
Yeah.
In Quantum Leap. When he leaps and then he looks in the mirror and he sees who he really is?
Yep.
That was a question I had for the show Legends. I was like, I'm Egyptian, right? We're cutting back to Egypt.
Right.
I'm not Egyptian.
Yeah. It's gonna be a problem.
This doesn't scream Egyptian. And they were like, oh, it was all kinds of shades back then. And I was like, what about a mirror thing where we can have all these other actors share the experience of Hawkman?
Right.
And I'm just the conduit, and we do the Quantum Leap thing. And again, why, I had ideas. I have ideas. This is who I am on set. I have ideas. But no, all I have with that now is I just hope they do Hawkman justice. I hope they do more than smash, smash, bang, bang. This is what I have with all superhero things. I'm like, is it still a good movie if there was no powers and not a single action sequence?
I would say, or for Black Adam, or
just in general.
Yeah, well, in this case, that's mainly my thing now. Is it?
Yeah.
Do I care about the human drama?
Well, yeah. The characters are conduits of humanity. So like you said, that's why people relate to them. They see themselves, or they see something they can relate to, and that's what you did. You saw, the humanity of Hawkman. It's this person who's doomed to a kind of torturous cycle of immortality. He is to live and to love and to die.
Yeah.
And the comics, he fucks shit up in the meanwhile because he's a warrior. But yeah.
But you also got you've got a connection to Kevin Bacon because through Kira Sedgwick.
Yeah.
That's true.
And the current Hawkman in the Black Adam movie, we just did a series with Kevin Bacon as well. So there's a Hawkman connection as well.
The Hawks, man, they got a straight line to the 6 degrees of the bacon.
And Kevin Bacon also is known for dancing.
There you go.
Boom. Hey, there you go. So,
well, you'll be happy to know that in Black Adam, Hawkman is the leader of the team, which was great.
Yeah.
And I hear there's a petition to bring back Legends.
Yes.
In the movie universe or in the show?
In the show.
The show.
Because James Gunn is now overseeing all DC television and movies and stuff. And people are like, hey, Legends was fun. Bring our Legends back. And me, I'm like, hey, listen, it's the most comic booky of the show.
I would kill. And I kind of thought I was done with the character and, just the way it all played out. But if James Gunn did Legends or a Hawkman show or something like that, that would be amazing.
Absolutely.
Totally.
Yeah, fuck. I'm sorry, man. Superheroes are like the Sopranos, man. It's like they're quoting The Godfather. Once they thought I was out, then they pull me back in. So there's always another chance. Plus, your character is immortal, so you guys, you could just quantum leap that right there. Like, shit. All right, I'm back. All right, let's do this.
And Falk, did you retain a costume?
No, I wish. That's a really expensive costume. I wanted that costume so bad. I wanted. I like to keep something, a costume or a prop or something like that. But no,
Right.
I did get the design, the Carter Hall outfit, which ended up being a leather jacket. We designed something very different that never was used. That I finally got, but yeah.
Yeah, Rich, they probably let him have one feather. That was within their budget. One, maybe two, but definitely one you can take. And it's just like, what the hell am I supposed to do with this? Make it into a pen? I'm gonna, use it to sign my autographs with. There you go.
There you go. Nice.
That would have been cool. Whatever. But I'm good. I don't know, Leo, did you have anything? I feel like we talked and you did that. Nice, good, nice, okay.
Well, I know Falk's got his current run, but Falk, what's coming up down the line after this project that you?
Who knows? My life took a turn with the pandemic. I started to offer up trauma release facilitation first through breath work. I'd always been interested in breath work and had my certification and used it in my life for depression, for eating disorders, for all kinds of nonsense I had to deal with and trauma that I had. And then the pandemic hit and I had just done ayahuasca. I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's a hallucinogenic drug, medicine. It's a medicine out of the Amazon. Consciousness expansion, that whole world sort of opened up. And right after that, I just had people show up for this trauma release workshop and really, really heavily involved with that. And filmmaking switched to more producing or being involved as a producer as well as an actor. And I just now sat down with my management and just sort of wanted to know what's Hollywood doing, where are we at, anything out there. I turned 40, I have a kid, so like my cast, everything has changed, my perspective on things, what I want to play. 40 was the age that I was dreaming of when I was in my 20s. When I did Hawkman, I was like, can't wait till I'm 40. Like every role I ever looked up to was 40 and older.
Right.
And so I almost feel like I'm ready to start my acting career all over again in a way. So who knows? Who knows where I could be used and be of service, and where there's fun, creative people wanting to play, I'll be there.
All right, you're opening yourself up to the universe and seeing where it diverts you.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Awesome. And I'm glad that you're in a position to do that. That's exciting.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm grateful for that as well.
And we'll look forward to seeing you if Legend gets revived, because then we can be like, we know that guy. We talked to him. We put hot jams in his mind.
And
so
I think he'd be down for some. I think he'd be down for some humor.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Oh yeah.
And don't forget to check out Swap Me Baby on Tubi.
Yeah. Or Amazon or iTunes.
Right. Yeah. Everywhere.
Anywhere.
Absolutely.
Leo, you got anything for me?
Well, these guys definitely took all the main questions, but what do you dork out about? Actually, before we get into that, you mentioned breath work. What's breath work?
There's so much. It's like apparently one of the like fastest growing markets in the US. It's the new yoga, I guess,
Yoga, transcendental meditation.
Yeah, that kind of thing. And it's different ways of breathing, just really focused breathing. I work with a 3-step breath. You inhale through the tummy, then through the chest and out all through the mouth, in a rhythmic way. And it gets you out of your head. It gets you into your system, into your body, into your fascia. You're basically stretching your fascia from the inside with breathing. And when you have trauma, especially like chronic stuff that you've been carrying, you adjust your breathing. You'll see somebody will not breathe deep into their chest. Somebody will breathe very labored and not get a lot of oxygen. Like everybody should check on how they're actually breathing. So then when you put somebody for 45 minutes in this intense rhythm, a lot of oxygen, that trauma has a chance to finally be activated and released in a safe way. So that's sort of the foundation of breath work. Wim Hof is one that is very, very known. That's more on the like, get healthier, hold your breath longer, that. But the spiritual component of breath work is what I've seen people do with breath work, it's insane. You know, it's like years of therapy in a session. You know,
That's just what I need.
let's do it. Call me.
Yeah,
Call me.
he needs it.
I've gone away from doing Zooms, but hit me up or come down.
Well, cool. I'm doing breath work with Hawkman. Yeah, no, how's your Saturday? Oh, good. You know, that's a good conversation starter at work, Leo.
I don't know what happened. The big guy just started crying, you know?
They just lost it, like was watching The Notebook, man. It got intense. Leo, didn't you ask him what he dorks out about?
Yeah. So you're portrayed a comic book character. You said you read some of the comics to get into it. Growing up, did you read any comics? Are you reading any comics now? What shows are you watching? That sort of thing.
I did grow up with a lot of like Japanese anime.
Oh, sweet.
That I don't know. I haven't found it here, but one was called Saber Rider and
Okay.
the Star Sheriffs. And Galaxy Rangers is another one. I also don't know that was here. Spider-Man was in there and X-Men. Loved those. Not the physical comic, not the comic books, but the shows. Oh, there's a timer. And he's up.
Yeah.
Out.
And then, but what do I geek out? I have two things. You know, I'm a nature lover. So I geek out about horses. I love horses. I want to do a movie with horses. I would love to do something like Yellowstone. Just put me on a horse. Hidalgo. Let me do a Hidalgo. Love that. And then if I had extra cash to blow on complete nonsense, it would be swords.
Okay.
I love swords.
Just the high. I had an interview today that I geeked out about. It was with Duncan MacLeod, Adrian Paul.
Leo got really excited.
You know the Highlander?
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, the you said which Duncan MacLeod?
Yeah, from the show.
From
Adrian, the TV one.
Yeah, I loved the show.
Yeah,
Absolutely loved it.
And
Well,
I'm happy to report Adrian is a lovely fella.
Yeah.
Was also a choreographer, dancer. We have a lot of similarities. It was like, oh, where in London did you do? It was like Pineapple. He's like, I was at Pineapple. Like, and talking about geeking out, like that sword, that katana. You know, like I'm definitely gonna. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like I would get that. I would try to get I would try to get like the real museum version of like William Wallace's sword or whatever I could find, and have a whole like room just set up. Like in the Highlander, the movie, you know, he has the secret room.
Yeah.
Just swords and like relics from like warrior relics, not just
like
swords.
Lord of the Rings swords.
No, I know. I'm Rich. I'm seeing him as the Conan sword. I can just see him just
with that big giant,
the big giant and Conan sword, and just
I'd put that in there. That fits. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would totally geek out about that.
You have to get if you're going to do that, you have to get the battle mace, Falk.
Absolutely, and I would, and that's the thing. Like all the Hawkman paraphernalia that was there, I would have loved to have.
Wait, Falk, is your kid boy or a girl?
Boy, Leo.
Okay, because I was gonna say if it was a girl, that would be the greatest. Have a home by 9 and be like, just has the mace. Be like, I was Hawkman. I know how to use this thing. It's 10 o'clock, not a minute later. So that's one of those stories, But no, you can do the same thing with Liam.
It's an interesting parenting tool. I never thought of it that way.
Hey, trust me, you might want to use it against the boy when he becomes.
Not the belt. Grab the mace.
There you go. The belt or the mace, which one you choose? Hero's decision.
Falk, for my son, he couldn't wait for the day when he was stronger than me. And now he works out and he looks like a small football player. It is
that
or a medium-sized football player, because he's actually taller than me too. He's like 6'2".
That is a part of parenthood where I'm like, I don't know how you get ready for that. I hope it's gradual, but to have that moment where you look
it
at
is
your
gradual,
kid
and you have to be gentle, and you have to like fake it, like as they're kids, when he's like 6 and 7, and he's like hitting you with pillows on the bed and stuff like that. You have to act like he's kicking the crap out of you.
I will. I can't wait to act with him. I have this dream, and this will happen in maybe another half a year. He's getting ready for it. I want to teach him how to like take a hit, like a stuntman, like to take a kick.
Oh, great.
And so I want to just do like some spin kicks and like have a little fight where I like just beat the shit out of my kid in front of people and probably get arrested for it because my kid is like, yeah, I'm not, I'm continuing the act, Dad.
Yeah.
No bruises. No bruises. He did not hit me.
Tell him it was
It's all act.
joke.
Whoa. I'm not hitting my kid.
He's lying. I didn't actually touch him. He's like, oh, Dad, why'd you kick me in the face?
Yeah. I'm sure your wife is locked out of this room. She's not hearing any of this because she's like,
she knows that this is
not
nothing.
happening.
I started actually today. I started today to give him the. You guys know Jean-Claude Van Damme?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Another when I was a kid, hero of mine. He used to do this kick where he would kick left, right, and the head would,
right.
That is a specific move I want to practice with my son, and then reverse when he can finally kick. Just do the same.
Listen, Falk, you have to.
Is that enough work?
Listen, Falk, you have to realize that at least you're a better dancer than Van Damme is, because I remember that one scene where he's dancing, and it's not really dancing; it's like fight dancing.
But he's got rhythm, dude.
And I'm just like, this is the most uncomfortable seduction I've ever seen.
He does the hips, and then he jumps.
Yeah,
down
he does.
to
Yeah, he's like this. He's like, I don't know what to do. It's just like I was like, what? What?
He
Sit
was a
down.
ballet dancer, however.
Yeah, blood sport. Sit down. You're drunk. Go home.
He was the one celebrity I was starstruck with.
Oh man,
doing White House Down in Montreal.
Mm-hmm.
And I was at the elevator. I was walking around the corners of the elevator. I'd like been in the hotel for months, so it was like my home. And I walked down and I walked smack into Jean-Claude Van Damme. It's just him and I waiting for the elevator. And I'm standing there just, nodding, doing that like, hey. And then I'm just going in my mind running through how I could make contact, how I could like just tell him everything. I want to make a fucking TV show with him, and you're awesome. And I just froze.
It happens to the best.
Saw him going to the elevator and up and away. That would be cool to do a film with him where he just gets to act, because I think he's a really very underrated actor. Yeah.
Well, hey, listen, you hit 40, man. It's onwards and upwards, right? So that's what I'm hoping. So, Bloodsport 3, New Blood or something. I don't know.
The comedy.
Yeah, exactly. Blood sporting.
Well, his recent stuff is just hilarious. The Jean-Claude Van Damme,
Van Johnson.
Van Johnson. Yeah.
If you look it up and feel free to play it, but we made a fan video for Amazon to vote. Like I made a video about me being a big fan and how like I was pissed and kicked my agent in the face when he didn't give me the audition for a show. It's a short 2-minute thing, and basically it was vote now to get the show made. And they made the show. It was I thought it was really hilarious.
Yeah, I loved it myself.
Yeah.
There was something else I had in my brain, just went mush.
It'll come back.
Yeah.
Leo, control the breathing.
Yeah.
Where's your breath? Where's your breath?
Where's your breath?
Mine's short because it's I'm holding in a lot of stuff.
We all are.
Let it out. Let it out.
Actually, I was gonna ask, before we let you go, there's obviously this week we lost Kevin Conroy. Did you watch Batman the Animated Series when you were growing up?
I did not.
It was a huge loss.
Yeah.
But it's like the Batman Van Damme died. That's the best way we can put it. It's a huge loss for all of us. He was the real Highlander.
Yeah. How old was he?
66.
66. I was young.
And they're not saying it, but the way they're coming out, it might have been cancer. So, you know, but he did the Chadwick Boseman. He put on the face for the fans. He made the most of it. He met all these people. Honestly, Falk, I've never heard a bad thing about this person. Everybody he met had nothing but good things to say. So that loss is even more, you know, because he was just such a kind-hearted person. And he loved meeting us the same way we loved meeting him. I mean, I've met him, Leo's met him, Rich has met him. We all had great experiences. So, you know, it's like when your favorite uncle dies. You just boom.
I'm sorry, you guys. May he rest in peace.
Indeed. Indeed. So
thank you so much for your time tonight, Falk.
Seriously, thank you.
Gracious
guys.
and
This was
sharing, and we really appreciate it and enjoyed your stories.
It was really fun. Thanks for having me on.
Of course.
Totally.
Awesome.
And,
Whenever you're promoting something else, give us a shout.
I will. And then, you know what, Leo, if you want, a shout out to the listeners. If you are holding a lot in and you're having a hard time, because this is not an easy time right now, maybe you guys can share the Breath of Change 2020 at gmail.com. It's a donation-based service. If you're in Oregon, come and see me in person. Also, I have a lot of resources to people that facilitate this in a very affordable manner.
Okay.
You just connect people, but yeah, reach out.
Will do.
Awesome.
Yeah, and that email again was Breath of Change
2020 at gmail.com.
Okay.
We'll make sure
we'll add that to the show notes so everyone can check in. Awesome.
Thank you so much, Falk.
Thank you,
Falk. You guys.
Have a great evening. Enjoy fatherhood.
I will. You too.
Absolutely.
Get all the swords.
Peace out there.
Well, that was great.
I'm just glad I could finally not have to worry about glitching and be myself. It was really nice.
Yeah. What did you do? You got it fixed. It was like instantaneous.
Well, I'm on my phone. That's why these angles are horrible. So yeah, I kind of want to try again with my computer, which has never been a problem, but of course today. But
so you said you're on Wi-Fi. Do you have the ability to hardwire on your laptop?
No, I mean not to my knowledge. But
we gotta go now, and we're in the middle of the show, so
yeah,
it's fine. I'll just do this, and then hopefully next week it's better. So that was great. What a wonderful. You know what I liked? He's a really good listener. You know, like he's really listening to what you have to say. He's got a good sense of humor. You know, a really nice guy.
Absolutely.
But now on to the rest of the show. So Leo, give us news.
Well, so these are the items that I have. Let me just pull up here. So for those older geeks or dorks out there, you'll be happy to know the Adventures of Batman, the animated classics, are getting remastered on Blu-ray.
Nice.
And I believe that's the 68 series.
Wow.
So yeah, this will be cool to see. This is around the time Super Friends, I believe, started, right? Maybe. So yeah, Warner Brothers Home Entertainment announced the new 2-disc Blu-ray set.
Cool.
34 episodes of the classic 1960s cartoon, The Adventures of Batman. And there's no release date as of yet that I know of. But yeah. Constantine director has he is requesting, or he's saying that there's a mandatory change for the sequel film. And he believes it's what hindered the last movie, where I believe it had a rated R, and he's requiring it to be a PG-13 movie.
I don't know how I feel about that, because Constantine deals with like demons and shit. Like, I feel like a rated R would allow it to be exactly what it should be, but
yeah. And the other item I have, Zaslav is on record for saying There's not going to be 4 Batmans.
Okay.
Right.
We already got 2, so whatever.
Yeah. So, well, we have 3, now.
3 Batman.
Yeah.
Well, we got Keaton back.
We got Keaton back. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
Well, actually, no, 4 because he had the one in Titans, and Titans is still going.
Yeah. I just caught up on it. That's pretty good. The season's starting good. I like the supernatural angle they're going with.
I need to get caught up on Titans.
Well, no, the reason he wants to get caught up in Titans is because he now has a favorite crush.
I now have a favorite what?
I don't know. What does he have a favorite, Drew?
You have a favorite crush now on Titans.
Yeah, but she's not on the show anymore.
It doesn't matter. It still counts.
Yes.
So, all right. Can you guys can hear me?
Yeah.
Fucking hell. Whatever.
I can hear you. I can hear you.
All right. So obviously let's acknowledge we did it already with Falk. Let's just acknowledge the elephant in the room. We lost Kevin Conroy. And yeah, I mean, honestly, yeah. And Leo posted his photo. Rich posted his photo. I posted a photo.
Yeah.
There's so many photos.
Now, Leo, was that the first time you interviewed him at the predecessor to Terrificon at Mohegan Sun?
Yes. Yep.
Was that 2015?
I believe that was. Yeah, I believe so.
Wow,
2015 or 2016, crazy. But around there, yeah.
It's either 15 or 16. I'm not sure when.
I love that, Leo. Me and you were again at the same con. We just did not realize it.
Yep.
Because that's I think the same. Yeah.
That's crazy. Now that year, I was also at that con, and I met Kevin that night without the makeup on, and I kind of went up to him and I was like, "Hey, Kevin, I just want you to know tomorrow I'll be dressed up as a Joker, and there might be some really loud cackling going on around you, so I'm just kind of giving you a heads up, And he goes, "Oh, they warned me about you." And I was like, "Oh my God." So he's like, "Can you give me a sample?" I did. And he's like, "Okay, I'm ready for it now. Thank you." And the next day we went and took a picture of him. He was super gracious, super nice guy. And I'm looking at the picture and he looked really genuinely happy. And then again in just this past August, when we were all at Terrificon, I was the one recording the JLA panel. And as soon as Leo puts it in my shared file.
I put it in your shared file.
Oh, did you finally? Because I thought you only put your interview in the shared file.
No, I put the whole panel in there.
Hey, all right.
It's in there.
All right, it wasn't in there. Maybe it's in there now.
Files. It's 2 files.
All right, I'm going to double check.
I'm still waiting for Rick Leonardo to
type that in.
I'll turn.
Let me bitch, Drew. Let me bitch. I'm done.
I'll turn this podcast right around, sir. You need to stop that right now. Okay.
All right.
No, that's a good story. I have 2 favorite memories with Kevin, to be quite honest. My first was, well, obviously the one that I posted about meeting him as old Bruce Wayne, and I was really nervous too because I'm dressing as the Curb. I really did my best to make the voice because that's really important to me. And because it's funny because the first time I met him, thank you, Leo. The first time I met him, it was very normal. That New York, and I had him sign my Batman animated series. He was great. He was a really nice guy. And then I think the second time, no, I'm wrong. The first time I met him was with my friend Lawrence, who was being Batman Beyond for the first time. And we're standing in line waiting. Lines at Comic-Con are just horrendously long. The only line that was longer was meeting Jason David Frank, aka the original Green Ranger for Power Rangers. And you know, Kevin's there, he's meeting, we're getting closer and closer. It took us about an hour to get there. Kevin never felt rushed. He gave everybody time. He talked to you, he listened to you, he laughed, he complimented, he said it was really nice to meet you and everything. He'd sign your stuff. But he saw my friend who was dressed as Terry McGinnis, aka Batman Beyond, and he looked like side like this, and he was just like, Terry McGinnis. My friend like grabbed my arm with the arm grip, and he was like, can you hold me? I think my legs give out. I'm like, I got you. They're gonna think certain things about us, but it's fine because we're bros. So it's okay.
Drew,
One bro can
this
hold
Larry,
another.
was this Larry Green?
No, this wasn't.
Oh, okay.
No, it wasn't. But and we met him and we took the photos and he was so happy. So it's like seeing someone you care about also making the day. But when I met Ken as old Bruce, it was at Terrificon. I don't know that time it was my Connecticut something, the precursor to Terrificon. But I was there. I had Grumpy, Kane. Nobody knew who it was. Nobody really took my photo. I was like, because I was like, I've aged my fucking,
I think you should go back on the phone. You're breaking up
in the voice. Everything. God fucking damn it. Motherfucker. I was doing so well. Blame you, Leo.
I'm sorry. I'm
blame
sorry.
You and your faulty technology with the
Your
failure
laptop
and the stop. You don't blame my tech. Shit's been thumping and banging and clanging, and you know what? You.
There he is.
Yeah, there we go.
You want to try that story one more time, Drew?
It's very simple. I met Kevin Conroy. He was a total gent. And the best compliment that I have is that he told me my old Bruce Wayne impression was very good. And the best memory I have about that was I just wanted a photo of him shaking my hand. It's shaking my hand. Thank you, Jibbo. That's exactly what I meant. And I said, can you shake my hand and say the line like you did in the second episode? And I just had him. He looked at me. He grabbed my hand. He looked at me and he said, welcome, welcome to my world. And I was like, that's it. I'm good. Okay. The rest of the con, I don't care. I'm having a great time. And, honestly, again, it's like I said to Falk. It's like I've said to anybody. I've never heard a bad Kevin Conroy story. But I did do something really dumb the day he passed. And it's kind of like, when people take Ipecac to throw up. For me, it was, I wanted to cry about this, and I was having a little trouble doing so. I was like, I need to watch something Kevin-y to cry. I was like, what can I work with? There's so many good stuff. And I'm like, I went with The Death of Ace. And I'm not, Rich knows and Leo knows. Everybody, I'm sorry. You may have your favorites, but in my mind, the Justice League Unlimited episode, which is kind of like called Epilogue, which is the kind of the end properly of Batman Beyond, is one of Batman's greatest, most tenderest, most humane moments, where he comforts Ace from the Royal Flush Gang as she is preparing to die. I'm sorry, the emotion, the animation, like I just started watching it and I was just like, oh, it's coming. Oh, oh, it's coming, and it did, and yeah, like I'm getting emotional just thinking about it. Oh my god.
Drew, I'm gonna let you get back to it, but I'm gonna sidebar that by saying the same day I ended up going into the dispensary, and one of the bud tenders knows me, and he knows that we have the podcast. He knows, I'm into nerd stuff. And he says, "Oh, I'm really sorry for your loss." And he goes, "I don't know a lot about Kevin." He goes, "What could you tell me if it was one thing I wanted to watch?" And I totally mentioned that episode, Drew. So thank you very much.
You're welcome. Listen, you gotta give credit where credit's due. I mean, that was all, and that best part, that was also the work of another dearly departed creator. That was written by Dwayne McDuffie, who, as we know, is the creator of Static Shock.
Absolutely.
Was a big comic book writer. He was one of the big heads of Milestone Comics, which is
the first black-owned, black writer, black everything.
And
comic.
He wrote some of the best episodes of the Justice League. He wrote some great Justice League comics. I would have loved to have been, honestly, Rich, I would have loved to have been able to meet him.
Dwayne McDuffie, very talented man, from what I understand.
Exactly. That's my Kevin Conroy story, and I'm just really grateful to have met him. I will say though, because I do want Leo to talk about his story, because again, this is not the Rich and Drew show with Leo in the small asterisk at the bottom. I'm just a little sad that I feel future generations of fans, like any kids I have won't get the joy to meet him. But it's like I said in my post, we'll keep his memory living on. So in some way, he doesn't die.
Yeah, there's so much stuff that he has out there to watch. So engross yourself in it. Like I just discovered that I had posted about Yoga Hosers. He's in the movie Yoga Hosers, which is a Kevin Smith movie. He's got this thing with these two little blonde girls, and my sister chimed in immediately because she's a huge Kevin Smith fan. She goes, "That's Kevin's daughter, Haley, and Johnny Depp's daughter, the other girl." So I was like, "Oh, I would have never known that."
Yeah,
so cool. And to know that he had that little part in there, that's pretty cool.
Well,
just real quick, did you see my comment?
Yes,
I did not.
No.
Yes.
Hold on. I thought it was quite humorous. Let me pull it up.
Leo, looking at things to pull up, you can pull up that quick little 5-minute interview. I mean, it is quick.
Yeah. Actually, hold on one second.
See, damn it, Falk. Now all I want to do is just do my interview and just hold this sword.
Yeah, we'll play this clip real quick.
Hey, pack of True North menthol. Those are lights.
Sorry about that.
Girls.
Girls. That's just not very Canadian. Come on, Robin. Let's get out of here.
Let's see. Oh yeah, you said I had no idea this has existed, and I said this is Yoga Hosers. There's a good chance no one knew this existed.
Yeah, it's not one of the better Kevin Smith movies, in my opinion. I'm a big Kevin Smith fan, but that one I was like, if I never saw it, I would have been fine.
Yeah.
But he redeemed it because he came back with Clerks 3, so I'm good. And segueing to our guest, we had the confirmation that Carlos Pacheco passed away, and it was interesting that we found that he passed away like 2 months ago. So I was like, we're mourning a death that's already passed. I'm like, thanks, Rob Liefeld. But what a sad loss there. I was talking to a friend of mine about this. It's just been a rough year for comics, man. I mean, we lost some greats this year, you know. And I mean, I was just thinking about it, and I even saw that Alan Moore had posted a tribute to Kevin O'Neill. I mean, you know, they worked together a lot the last, I would say, like 10 or so years through their League of Extraordinary Gentlemen work. And I was just like, man, you know, it just sucks, because you realize eventually all the greats will pass, because it's just humanity, you know, but it still doesn't make it any easier, you know?
Absolutely. And, you know, from talking to a lot of the guys we've interviewed over the years, or over the last 2 years, some of the guys at age that aren't as popular with DC and Marvel anymore, they've found their own ways and their own things. And,
yeah.
And Leo, so you had your interview. Tell us about even getting the interview.
It was extremely easy.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. No, he was such a kind person. I waited in line to meet him. I think I got an autograph with a picture, or just a picture. And then after I got that, I said, hey, you know, I run a show. Would you mind if we have an interview later? And he agreed. And, you know, when I came back, you know, he only had a couple people in line. And as you can see, he stayed with me for like 5 minutes.
Right.
Even with people, you know, lining up to see him. And it was just to take that time, you know, and just to, you know, it was just amazing, you know. Just sometimes you get, you know, some celebrities are you can see they get a little antsy or a little, you know, upset with you that you're taking your time. But he was nice the whole way through. But we're gonna play this. I apologize, I was totally green. This is probably, I think this was the first year I was really doing interviews. But here we go. Here at Connecticut Comic-Con with Kevin Conroy.
Yeah.
Good
Good to be here.
Yes. So you are Batman to all of us. I loved the show growing up. I loved the video games. What was the best thing about recording this?
Well, it was so interesting. You know, I kind of stumbled into it 23 years ago. I just auditioned for a job, and then one show led to the next, and then led to the next, and led to the next. You never know what something's going to evolve into. You know, how a job is going to last. And this one lasted 23 years. And it became a part of so many people's childhoods, you know, and just being the actor who supplied the voice, I get associated with the character.
Oh, yeah.
So it's amazing privilege to be associated with this whole endeavor, because, you know, Bruce Timm, Paul Dini, Andrea Romano, the producer Alan Burnett, everyone involved, the music by Shirley Walker, everyone involved were just like the A team in Hollywood. And everyone was throwing in 100% of their effort. And the result is this beautiful artwork that's lasted 23 years. If you see those shows from the original show, they still look fresh, like they were just made. You still get chills watching them. And then Batman the Animated Series became The Adventures of Batman and Robin, and that became the Justice League, and that became Batman Beyond, and now it's the Arkham games, you know. So it's just been one evolution after another. And to be an actor and be associated with that kind of anthology, that kind of body of work, is such a privilege, and it just doesn't happen very often.
Now, the games, so the TV show, you have a set script, and the games, you know, you have all these different interactions. How much longer does it take you to record a game as opposed to the show?
It's like a different job. Doing the shows, they try to do it with everyone in the recording studio together. So it's done like a radio play. And you have the other actors to bounce off of. And actors feed each other energy. You're better, the better the other actors are. Good actors love to work with other good actors because they make you work better. And so you get energy from other people. And so in a half-hour show takes about 2 hours to record. And that's it. A game like Arkham Knight, the most recent game, has 34,000 lines of dialogue in it. It took 2 years to record. And you have to record them separately, each line, each character. So they book me 4-hour blocks alone in a booth, just doing line after 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 line. And then they say, okay, now try that with a little more anger. Try that with a little more irony. Can you keep the irony and give us a little humor? It just goes on. It's endless. By the end of 4 hours, you sort of forget how to speak English. And that went on for 2 years. It took 2 years to build that game.
Those games are amazing.
They're amazing. The results is amazing, but the process of actually creating them is very difficult. It's much harder than just acting in a show.
Now, what do you have in your queue right now? What are you working on?
I'm working on a new series that I'm about halfway through for Warner Brothers. They haven't announced it yet, so I can't actually say anything yet. They're probably going to announce it at the end of the summer.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of our viewers probably already know what that is. Mark Hamill's already been rumored for a certain project.
No. Mark's not in this one.
Oh, really?
This is something else.
Okay.
It hasn't been any mentions of it at all.
Oh wow. Okay. So totally different from what we've heard already.
And from what you're referring to, I have not been approached of yet. So I don't know whether I'm going to be in that or not.
I know a lot of the forums, a lot of people are asking if you
Everyone's asking. I don't know. I haven't been asked by the studio, and I'm not even sure Mark has been asked because he hasn't told me, and I don't believe anything I believe on the internet. So I don't believe anything I hear on the internet. So I don't know. I just don't know. But I know I haven't been asked yet.
Well, if a certain project was to happen, and Mark Hamill and you, that
would be awesome.
Yes, it would.
It should happen. It would be great
Excellent.
because it's the classic.
Yes.
But hasn't happened yet.
Well, I hope it does, and I know a lot of our viewers hope so.
Thank you.
I want to thank you so much for taking your time today.
Sure.
You have a most excellent day, sir. Thank you.
Good meeting you. Take care. Bye.
That was great.
That got me a little emotional. I'm not gonna lie.
Absolutely. And when we just had filmed him, like I said, at Terrificon this past summer, back in August, and I remember during the panel he's telling a story that and again he just talked about on that you have 2 hours to do this thing, and the head of production kept yelling at Kevin because Kevin kept laughing. And he's like, "It's not my fault. It's Mark. Mark's sitting here like this, smiling at me, just enjoying the whole production and making me crack up."
There you go.
And which reminded me, they all, Mark, Tara, and even yet today I saw on TikTok Rob Paulson. They all did these beautiful, beautiful tributes to Kevin, and it really shows to not only was the guy a tremendous talent, but he was obviously a really good man and beloved by not just the fans, by the people behind the scenes as well.
Oh yeah, totally. And it's just, yeah, it was just Leo, you were so green, but it was hilarious.
Yep.
But
I have to tell you, after I did that interview, like I had a dream we had him on the show, and I thought after that point, like, holy crap, we would really be at the point where we made it when we had Kevin Conroy on the show, and obviously that unfortunately will never happen. But that was
it was fun to dream, Leo.
It was.
But maybe one day we can achieve a different level of success, and we can have Mark Hamill on the show, in which, I'm sorry, Rich's hair would just turn white. And me, I would just be like,
I'm like, we're on the splash.
Yeah, it's like
Skywalker show.
We're not worthy. We're not worthy.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I would just
be
like,
a lot of that.
I forgot how to speak English. I'm sorry. Hi. Yeah, I would just sound like I was a Jawa.
Absolutely.
No, I remember. No, the one thing I regret. I remember I was watching an episode of, because Will Friedle has a podcast where him and Christy Romano, they talked like voice actors and whatnot. And Kevin was on the show, and he was talking about it, and he was talking about this this idea where it would be great if they did, him and Mark did a project where Kevin was the villain and Mark was the hero.
Oh, nice.
And I was just like, yo, that would have been so cool. Because, you know, it's because, again, you know, you always think of Kevin as Batman and Mark as the Joker. But I was like, oh my God, can you imagine if like the roles were reversed? I was like, that would be so fucking cool.
Because they play so well off each other. So
Absolutely.
regardless, it would be a great performance.
Absolutely. And it was also funny because I remember I was talking to a friend of mine recently, and we were talking about like people who we never see at a convention. Like if they were at a con, outside a con, we would drive to go there. And I was like, I know two, because we were talking about Batman, because you know we were talking about Kevin Conroy. I was like, no, there are three people automatically: Mark Hamill, Paul Dini, and Rich. This one, I know you would join me on this one: Arlene Sorkin, the original Harley Quinn.
Oh yeah.
If she was at a con, I would just be like, please sign these.
Yeah, that was actually if we got lucky enough to get near Tara Strong on Rhode Island, that was my questions. Did Tara study Arlene's performance? Yes or no? And do you guys have a relationship to this day?
Listen, I got to say this. I now I have this just idea of the characters who voice the same characters going to brunch. So now I'm just going to keep pushing character brunches. You know, Arlene and Tara have a Harley brunch.
Exactly.
You know, why not? You know, brunch is delicious and should be enjoyed by comparing notes with people you respect and care about. So there you go. But we were talking about Carlos Pacheco.
Before we move on to that, I just wanted to say real quick, Kevin Conroy still has 2 upcoming projects.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Really?
Relatively Super is a TV movie.
He's live acting.
That's what it looks like.
Okay.
And then the other one, he hopefully his lines are recorded already, but he's slated to play Thomas Wayne in Batman Caped Crusader.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Very cool. We'll certainly look forward to that.
Totally.
Yeah.
And Drew, please continue.
Oh, no, it's fine. I'm just saying Carlos Pacheco, who's a stellar artist. I actually got to meet him once. I think he was at like New York or something. And I was very excited because he did work on the book that we read, and we're going to kind of give our 2 cents as we normally do this week. But he also did work, I believe, on Final Crisis, the Grant Morrison story with J.G. Jones. Carlos helped come in issues, I think 4 to 6, to help with some of the artwork. And I feel like there was something else. I think he did like Age of Ultron or something like that. It's either him or Ivan Peterson. I don't know. But he was very cool. He was very nice. Very pleasant man. I don't remember him being particularly chatty, but it's, again, compared to me, everybody's quiet. But he was a really pleasant man, and he was so talented. I mean, I'm rereading this. I was reminded of that. I'm reading another book of his that I think we definitely need to add to our list of books to read. Aerosmith, which he did with Kurt Busiek.
Okay.
It's a great book. It's essentially, Rich, I know when I brought it up, it was either this or that. It's definitely really interesting because it's essentially an alternate timeline of the world in World War I, where magic is a thing, and World War I is being fought with like magical creatures and magic and vampires and dragons. Like,
it sounds cool.
Honestly, I have some trouble with fantasy settings, but I'm really enjoying this.
I like a lot of Kurt's work. So,
oh yeah, Kurt's
I'll be honest, Drew. I had heard that Carlos had passed. I didn't know a lot of Carlos's work. I had heard his name over the years,
right?
But I started researching and looking at his different stuff, and even in the book, certainly in the book we read over the last couple of days, I mean, his shit is stellar and on point, sharp.
Oh, he's a great artist. I mean, he really, his detail was fantastic.
Clearly, it's a loss to the artistic community.
It really is. And then so this, you know, I mean, honestly, I am so glad. I love when we get to go back to the Ultimate Universe. Big fan still. And it's funny because before you got on, Rich, I was talking to Leo about some of the story, and Leo is still very new to the Ultimate Universe.
Yeah.
So, which is fine, Leo. That's why it's there, so you can learn. He was asking me questions. So, I guess, should I introduce the book and then we can talk about it?
Absolutely.
All right. Well,
before you do, let me just give the specs on it real quick. It's written by Mark Millar, penciled by Carlos Pacheco. Inker was Danny Mickey. Colorist was Justin Ponser, and the letterer was Corey Petit.
Yep.
Editor at the time was Lauren Sankovic and Mark Panicha. This came out in August of 2009 and was 6 issues for the story that we're covering today.
Yes, sir.
And the solicit synopsis, guess who's back? That's right, kids. Mark Millar, the Ultimates, Wolverine, Old Man Logan, and superstar Carlos Pacheco blast into the Ultimate Universe for a mind-blowing, heart-pounding, and gut-wrenching event of epic proportions. When a highly classified secret threatens Captain America, only newly returned Nick Fury has the tools to bring him in as the first of a series of blockbuster arcs begins. Project Avengers is a go. Go for it, Drew.
Yeah, so thank you, Leo. That was great. And back to the station. So essentially, what this book is it takes place a little time after that time big mega event, but yet now heavily criticized event called Ultimatum, where a huge chunk of the Ultimate Universe died. And so where this is kind of following that. So essentially, Nick Fury has been off planet, actually off universe for a while, comes back to find that essentially he's out of a job. SHIELD is being rebuilt. The Ultimates are a little different. And Carol Danvers, the person we know as Captain America, not Captain Marvel. Thank you. Sorry, Rob. Sorry, I saw the cat. Is essentially running his job, and she basically wants nothing to do with him. But of course, Nick Fury is way too valuable an asset, so he's given a different job.
Black Ops.
Yes, Black Ops, which actually, considering the curmudgeon that Nick Fury is, it's actually perfect for him. So he finds out that their target is an old, formerly retired, still infamous terrorist, now we know as the Red Skull, has resurfaced and has basically stolen the secret project of a Mr. Fantastic from the Baxter Building, and most likely threatens the world. And on top of it, well, Captain America is AWOL again. So
yes, let's not forget that what he stole was the Cosmic Cube, which is big.
Which is funny enough because it's actually a blueprint for the Cosmic Cube. The Cosmic Cube actually shows up in a different storyline, in a Ultimate Fantastic Four storyline. So it's like almost, I think, Reed rebuilt the Cosmic Cube. Either that or stole it. But this story deals with the Red Skull and Nick Fury putting together a new team. He's no longer with the Ultimates. So these are the Avengers. These are Avengers unlike anything we've ever seen. And that's one of the many things that's great about the Ultimate Universe is, again, is not afraid to take it in different directions. And we even meet some new characters in this. Some of the new characters being, we meet Gregory Stark, Tony Stark's smarter, more deplorable and amoral brother. We also meet Monica Chang, the new Black Widow, who also happens to be Nick Fury's ex-wife. Yeah, someone got married to him. I can't believe it either. And then a couple of other great characters too. Some new faces, some old faces. This book has it all. And honestly, I'm so glad I got to review it. So obviously I'm a big fan, but what did you guys think?
Well, before we get into that, just real quick, confirmed before She-Hulk, they did confirm that Captain America does indeed fuck.
Oh yes. Oh yeah. Oh, he didn't just fuck, he fucked old-timey fuck, which means like there was definitely no condom on. So that man just is bareback ambitious. But moving on, please. Because I'm already laying down, which means I could fall asleep in any second.
What are your thoughts, Velvet?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, this Cap is cocky, but he seems to be able to back it up.
Oh, he backs it up.
He kicks everyone's ass.
Oh, he backs it up, my man.
I like Hawkeye in this very much. I like Clint Barton, Agent Barton.
Oh yeah.
And this is amazing. The where he goes through the training of. Well, we learn. Should I ruin it at this point?
Okay, Rich. How about this? You can either do one or the other. You can either explain who the Red Skull is in the Ultimate Universe, or we could talk about the ending. Personally, I think preserving the twist ending is a little better.
All right, we'll wait.
But yeah, so do you want to basically spill the beans on the relationship that Red Skull has in this universe to Captain America?
Yeah, it turns out that it's Steve Rogers' son. And when they find out that I'm sorry, when Steve gets frozen or they think he's dead, they approach the woman that has the baby and was like, hey, we need to have this. This is the next possibility. He's got super soldier serum inside of him.
Literally.
So they take him, they train him, and things happen. And he eventually becomes the Red Skull.
Oh yeah. And how he does it is fucking nuts.
Yeah. So definitely worth reading just to watch those couple of pages.
And again, I just love the scope of the Ultimate Universe here. I mean, we're taking it in directions that the mainstream comics just couldn't. And it's just so great to see because it really just showed the potential of this world. And also it showcases why the Ultimate Universe was really so popular, and again, it's also just another testament is when you have the right creators together, a story can just literally leap off of the page. But Leo, what do you think?
I loved it. It was definitely a different story than I'm used to, from the previous Avengers books, the older books that we've read. This here was a lot more action oriented. The story was great, but it wasn't like books and books of text like some of the previous ones.
Right.
Very unique, like the nerdy Hulk. I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
I mean, Mark Millar just really does know what he's doing. I mean, you can say what you want about his controversial status and things and the subjects he writes about and the cursing and whatnot and his proclivity for his love of violence or all these things that his critics love to bring up. But the man tells a really good fucking story, and the Ultimates is one of his best. Like when he decided to come back to the Ultimates, I mean, what a collective nerd sigh. I mean, and he stuck for literally essentially Leo and Rich, I don't think you guys know this, but after Ultimatum, they relaunched the Ultimate Universe. So you had Brian Michael Bendis was still there for Ultimate Spider-Man. You had a completely new person, I believe it was Nick Spencer for Ultimate X-Men, but then they had two Ultimates. You had Jeff Loeb was still doing the new Ultimates, which was the Ultimates team as it was now following Ultimatum. And then they had Ultimate Avengers, and you had Mark Millar coming back. And Mark Millar confirmed that this was all based on stuff that he didn't get to do when him and Brian Hitch were doing Ultimates, both 1 and 2. He said he wrote like 5 years worth of storylines that, you know, of course got condensed into 26 issues, Ultimates 1, Ultimates 2. But he said like all this was stuff that he didn't get to do. Nice. And it's just crazy. The scope. And what I also love is that everybody gets their time to shine, you know? Everybody gets their moments. And I mean, I got to say, the most tragic character, I think, in this whole book is the Red Wasp.
Yeah, you know? And it gave me a feeling of like the Dark Avengers.
A little bit. Well, because these are, yeah, no, totally, Rich. Because these guys are even darker than the Ultimates.
Right.
You know, and the Ultimates were fairly dark, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
But the Red Wasp, especially, I mean, she was, for those who follow the Ultimates timeline, she was part of the Liberators, which were the big bad guys on Ultimates 2. She was the Insect Queen, which was their version of the Wasp. And we all thought she died, but she didn't die. She got rebuilt. She got basically forced to work for her enemies. And then we find out this tragic backstory, which is a connection to the Skull. Like, I mean, I'm sorry, besides what the Red Skull did to earn his name, her storyline really stuck with me because of how fucking violent it was. Which Mark Millar does not shy from it. And I will say this also, speaking of Rich, speaking of Hawkeye, that Hawkeye Cap collaboration near the end against the Red Skull, I was like, yo. I mean, you got to give credit to Mark Millar. He knows how to have his scenes with just like movie style quotes. Oh, yeah. You know, it's got that like nice cinematic crispness. Like, I don't miss. I'm like, yo. No, but the stuff was definitely big. And they followed, Mark Millar followed this up. We had Ultimate Avengers 1, then 2, then 3, and then there was a kind of like the culmination end, the big battle. And they all had different themes. Like the first one was the Red Skull. The second one was Ghost Rider. The third one was vampires. The fourth one was Ultimates versus Avengers.
Now, do we get to see eventually, Drew? Is there do the Stark brothers have a battle?
Oh, 100%.
What does that fall in? What?
I think, well, I mean, you see the occasional interaction. I mean, Tony is not thrilled to see Gregory. And as you saw, Gregory hates him. You see more of the Gregory, like the battle of Starks in the Avengers versus New Ultimates.
Okay.
Which, I mean, it's all Mark Millar and drawn by a collaboration of Lionel Francis Yu and Steven Segovia. So the artwork is just amazing. Yeah, so we definitely see that. And Leo, you asked me, the spider, the person we saw in the Spider-Man costume. Yeah, that's not Peter Parker.
Okay.
That's not Peter, but that is not Peter Parker, but it is something completely else. And you do find out later on who and what it is.
So that's totally different than the Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yes, sir.
Story. Okay.
Because I didn't realize that. Okay. I thought I just assumed that was Ultimate Spider-Man. It had been so
that
long.
wasn't.
I was like, oh, was he that cocky as Ultimate Spider-Man? I go, oh, all right.
No.
I don't remember.
Nope, that is an evil spider.
Okay.
That is an evil spider. But I mean, again, Carlos is. I mean, I just think that the sign of a great artist, it looks so effortless. Like Carlos's artwork was just effortless. I mean, it didn't matter the detail, the smoothness, the expression. I mean, just gorgeous.
And it's been a while since I've seen an artist express Cap like that, because Cap is a badass, and he is capable of kicking some serious fucking ass of like people that are way higher powered than him.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, and that's not the first time Ultimate Cap has gone AWOL. So it was just so crazy. And it's so funny because Tony Stark doesn't really play much in this, but I always somehow thought that whole scene where Carol Danvers is yelling at him and he's in like this weird sex club playing chess with looked to be extremely pricey call girls, and I was just like, this is so Tony. Like, it's so oddly Tony, but I think the line always stuck with me is, "Oh, trust me, the hangover tomorrow will be my personal apocalypse." I was like, says every person in their 30s after they drink. No, honestly, there's really not much more to say. I mean, it's a great book. It's a nice return to face after the ridiculousness that Ultimatum left. And I don't know, just kind of again reminded me of why I fell in love with the Ultimate Universe. It was a modern reimagining of the Marvel world, and there was so much potential with good stories. And just when you see that potential realized, it's just good goddamn storytelling. So that's just
I think it's 4.5 Red Skulls throwing babies out the window.
Yeah, it's just fucked up.
Oh,
that's fucked. You are a mean person. I was gonna say, for me, it's definitely 4.5 Nerd Hulks.
Come on, Leo, come to the dark side.
Nerd Hulk yelling at Red Skulls. So
come on, Leo, come to the dark side. Throwing babies out the window.
So, Leo, pick another reference in the book, please.
4.5 faces being cut off by hand.
You are a sick fuck. I went with you know what? You're both demented as hell. But the one thing that I will say, and I'm not going to spoil it for our readers if they do want to read it, the ending is literally one of the best. Like
it's fucked up.
What a twist and and then what I love about it is the book feels like it has an after credits ending, because the book ends and then you have the meeting in the warehouse.
Thank you, Diego. Babies out the window.
So hold on, just back up a second. Just not only is it a baby out the window, it's they forced the mother to kill the husband.
Yes.
And then so they would have killed the baby and then kill the baby anyway.
Yeah.
Yep.
How fucked up is that?
He's the Red Skull, man. I mean, come on. The ultimate Red Skull killed Kennedy just to show them he wasn't taking over.
Yeah, that I totally forgot about that scene. That was fucking and very realistic.
Yep.
Oh,
very cool.
I mean, but again, just Millar's dialogue. He just he knows how to weave things in so well. He's always been good with that. But yeah, and I'm telling you guys, if you guys really like that, you should read the other ones. They were just as good because it's all Millar. It's just different collaborators. Because
all the Avengers are Millar, or he did different books.
No, he did different books, but all the Ultimate Avengers stuff is all Mark Millar, and this one was Carlos Pacheco. The second one was Lenel Yu. That's the one with the Avengers dealing with Ghost Rider, which is a fucked story. The third one was him with Steve Dillon dealing with the Avengers versus a vampire invasion. Which, funny enough, happened around the time that Marvel was dealing with vampires in the X-Men. And I seem to recall Mark Millar raising a bit of a stink about that. And then the last one was, again, Lenel Yu with Steven Segovia, which was the Ultimates versus the Avengers. It was kind of the culmination of everything he'd been laying out the last 3 series. And it's fucking intense.
Nice.
Yeah, no, it's guys, if you really do enjoy it, I really do recommend you read more. But yeah, that ending. I mean, it just reminds you that you do not fuck with the ultimate Nick Fury, because the dude is motherfucking ruthless. Because like the ending, because there's like the ending of the book, which you have to read to understand, and then you have like the end credits, the meeting between him and Fury and Gregory in the Shield warehouse. I was like, dude.
Well, like you said, that's there's all that could be said about that as we hit the 2-hour mark.
Yeah,
exactly.
Well, we should wrap it on that note. I want to thank everybody for watching this fine evening. Definitely, if just check out Ultimate Avengers. I'm Leo. I'm the monkey behind the keyboard here, and just Google me. Check out The Dorkening. Head on over to thedorkening.com. You can find all the latest episodes of everybody right there. And R.I.P. Kevin Conroy. Velvet Joker.
Good evening, and it is I, the Velvet Joker. Good night, J-Bo. But really, if you guys want to reach out to me, Facebook, I'm Rich Davis. Instagram, Velvet Joker 2021. TikTok, Velvet Joker 1. And if you guys are on TikTok and you kind of like that interview that you just saw with Leo, I added a couple of things, cut out a little things, and check it out on TikTok. Give it a like.
And I checked those 2 files are there. It's the JLA
panel. Ooh, so that means if you're gonna be a TikTok, that JLA panel is gonna take me a while.
Yeah,
So I'm just gonna take the Kevin Conroy parts, and I'm sorry to everyone else, but it's gonna go.
There's a good thing in the beginning. So 2 files. First one is like the very beginning, and it has a Kevin Conroy doing a Batman. Check it out. Mr. Drew, wake up.
Oh, I'm sorry. I woke up to say goodbye. Goodbye.
Ghostbuster Man 1984.
I hate you all.
We'll catch you guys later. Bye. Check them out on Screen Rant.
I hate you both. Go to sleep. Go to sleep.